Hello, thank you for listening. This is the near death experience of Bonnie, and this experience occurred in 1950. Open quote. When I was 6 years old, I contracted diphtheria and was taken to hospital where I stopped breathing and died. I had been sick for several days with a terrible earache in my left ear, and then it started in my right ear. My mother had been trying to treat me with drops of warm oil, but it didn't help. I became sicker and less responsive, and I remember Daddy leaning over me as I lay on my bed. He tried to talk to me and tried to get me to talk to him, but I felt disconnected and unable to focus on him. I must have lost consciousness because the next thing I remember, he was carrying me into the doctor's office. The doctor took a swab of my throat, and Daddy carried me into an exam room and laid me on a bed while the doctor looked through a microscope. Suddenly, he yelled at Daddy, who was standing next to him, "Get her to the hospital immediately. She's got diphtheria." I remember only part of the drive to the hospital, and then I woke up in a bed covered with something I didn't recognize. Mother later explained this was a canvas tarp used to create an oxygen tent. Since I was so young, I didn't know what oxygen was or why I was in a tent. I couldn't see out of it. I thought that tent was what was keeping me from being able to breathe and started to fight to get out of it. Nurses came in and gave me many shots of penicillin. I'm very allergic now, but I kept getting worse, and it felt as though I couldn't breathe. I was, in fact, breathing. I was gasping in huge, deep gulps of air, but somehow it felt as though I wasn't breathing at all, and that I was suffocating. I wanted to lie down, but every time I did, I would be unable to breathe and would feel as though I was going away somewhere. When this happened, I would jerk up to a sitting position again and try to breathe in enough air. Mother, who was sitting in a chair beside the bed, would tell me to lie down and I would be fine. I told her repeatedly that I couldn't breathe, and she would tell me again to just lie down and I would be fine. I have no idea how long this went on with me, gasping desperately for air, sitting up, then lying down, then jerking up again when I would stop breathing. But gradually I got weaker, and it grew harder to sit up and stay conscious. I must have finally gotten sick enough that I could no longer fight, because at one point I lay down on the bed and stopped breathing, and that's when I died. It was not a near-death experience, it was death. I heard a loud buzzing and felt that I was in a total darkness, and then I left my body. I didn't know at first that I had left my body. I was aware that I was floating above the bed and that I was somehow very, very different. The first and most vivid sensation I had was that there was some place I had, all caps, to go to. And I knew I had to get out of that room to be able to go. I went up, trying to go, but I was stopped at the corner of the room where the walls and the ceiling met. I looked down and saw the bed covered with the canvas tarp, and Mother sitting on a chair beside the bed. Her purse was on the floor beside her chair. Her hands were folded in her lap, and her head was down. I wonder if she was praying. I realized that I had no physical body, but I was still me, and I wanted to desperately go. There was a place I wanted to be, a light, a beautiful, golden, brilliant light of pure love and acceptance. But no matter how I tried, I was unable to get out of the room. I could feel the solidity of the walls and ceiling against my back, and I knew I was supposed to be able to go through it and beyond to the light, but I couldn't. I don't know how I knew I was supposed to be able to go through the solid walls of the hospital, but I did. I also knew that the place I wanted so badly to go to was home, all caps. I was allowed to keep some memories, but there are others I can't quite grasp. I think I may have left the room and went on to the light, but was not allowed to remember all of the experience because I retained memories of a total love beyond any earthly love and being embraced in it. Music that was unlike any I had ever heard, and smells of flowers sweeter than you can imagine. I saw Earth as if from space, and saw what it looked like, sparks from the 4th of July sparklers coming from it and going to it in a steady stream. From all over the earth there were uncountable sparks, leaving it just as many coming to it. There was no sense of time or space, and no regret at leaving my body or my family. I felt only complete joy and happiness. I have no idea how long this lasted. I'm not positive that I was prevented from going to the light. I may have, but was not allowed to remember anything except being stuck there in that hospital room. But suddenly, I was back in my body again, and it felt as though I was awakened from a very deep sleep. I sat up in the bed and had to vomit. There was a sink beside the bed, and Mother helped me to lean over the sink while I vomited what Mother later told me was a large amount of phlegm. As soon as I had finished, I laid back down and went to sleep. It was at that point that I began to recover. I no longer had to gasp in huge amounts of air. I was able to breathe normally. I still had to spend a lot of time in the hospital, but I got better from that point on. I believe God took my soul from my body long enough for him to put a healing hand on it and cause me to get well. And he let me remember enough of him to know for a fact he does love us beyond measure and watches carefully over each one of us. End quote. What a beautiful story, Bonnie. I like the description of the sparks coming off of Earth, coming to and from Earth. That was pretty cool. There are some questions here. Let me see. Comparing your vision, everything was much sharper and clearer. Colors and smells and sounds were all perfect and far beyond normal. Comparing your hearing, sound was pure and clean. The music I heard was perfect. Did you pass through a tunnel? Question. Answer, yes. I don't know if I would describe it as a tunnel. It was like a womb of blackness. Question. Did you see an unearthly light? Answer, yes. I can't, maybe can't explain. I can't, but I will try. It was like the center of everything. It contained and was pure love, intelligence, being. It was an irresistible force pulling me to itself, and I wanted very much to go. I was compelled to go to it. Question, what emotions did you feel during the experience? Answer, I felt complete and total joy, serenity, happiness, peace, and contentment. I felt enwrapped in pure love. Question, did you reach a boundary or limiting physical structure? Answer, I was unable to leave the hospital room. I have memories of seeing Earth and being told some things, but whether or not I did cross the boundary, I do not know. Question, what was your religion prior to your experience? Answer, liberal. What kind of... I will say liberal just so I can send this, but my answer is none, 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 none. All caps. Question, has your religious practices changed since your experience? Answer, no. I grew up with the knowledge of what pure love is. As well, I know what true spirituality is. Religion is a different animal. Question. What is your religion now? Answer, liberal believer. There is no church, no religion that has it right. They are all wrong. It is not about simply a set of rules, although there are rules to live by, a list of 10 of them. It is about giving yourself up to the total love of our Creator, capital C, and then allowing Him to take over our life, guiding us, helping us, and us using Him. Again, same as the above, no religion. Okay? Question, did you have a change in your values and beliefs because of your experience? Answer, no. I grew up with the knowledge of what pure love is. As well, I know what true spirituality is. Religion is a different animal. Question, during your experience, did you gain special knowledge or information about your purpose? Answer: yes. I'm not sure how this knowledge was imparted to me. As I explained above, I'm not sure if I did go to the light because I was not allowed to remember all of my experience. I do know that I was told our purpose here is to learn and to love. Our life here is like being in school. We are to learn as much as possible and to love everyone. This is one home for many people. We all have the same parents, the same purpose, the same Spirit of God within us. Who told me this or how is something I have no memory of. Question: have your relationships changed specifically because of your experience? Answer: no. Since I was a child when it happened, I grew up with the knowledge that there is so much more to our existence than this physical plane. I suppose I have spent my life searching unsuccessfully for a love like I know it can and should be, and I have an acute awareness of when it is not true love. That could be an issue. Question: was the experience difficult to express in words? Answer: yes, it's difficult to describe in words that are limited by our puny human ability and knowledge, something that is quote unquote otherworldly. What I experienced, and many others also, was beyond the capability of our brains to comprehend. Question: are there one or several parts of your experience that are especially meaningful or significant to you? Answer: the entire experience was especially meaningful to me. It has shaped and defined my life. I know for a fact that our souls do survive physical death. I know for a fact there is a God. Death is only the beginning of our true, all caps, life. This is merely a school here. Question: have you ever shared this experience with others? Answer: yes. Since I was only 6 years old, no one paid any attention to what I said. I tried several times immediately afterwards to tell people. I had flown, but I was not taken seriously. It was many years before anyone did. Thank you, Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. Question: what did you believe about the reality of your experience shortly after it happened? Answer: I had no explanation for it. I was completely confused. I knew I had died, that my soul had left my body, and that I had a profound experience. But I was so young, I had no frame of reference for what had happened so that I could understand it fully. Question: what do you believe about the reality of your experience now? Answer: experience was definitely real. It was a rare and beautiful gift. It was given to me so that I would have the strength to endure the life that lay ahead of me. Question: is there anything else that you would like to add about your experience? Answer: I wish I could more accurately describe the love and acceptance I felt from the light. I wish I could paint a word picture of how it is to be separate from one's body, to be in spirit form, more aware and more alive, all caps, than in the body. End quote. In questions. Another great story. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day.